Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at, whatever time zone you're in the world. Thank you for joining me on my channel. So, we've been evaluating some franchises and deciding whether that's the best way to go or just to do the business ourselves. So, I don't know what part we're on anymore. I lost count because there's so many franchises out here. It's unbelievable. A lot of them overlap one another, but we're going to continue on here. I don't remember what part we're on now. I think this might be 4. When it gets around 20 minutes, I usually cut it off. So let's go and continue our evaluations here, okay? So let's look at some of these. We left off on the last video, Pool Scouts Pool Cleaning. Now, there's about 3 pool franchises that we have talked about on this website. And so far, only one of them is pretty accurate. But I still don't think you need $100,000 to start up a pool cleaning business. Now, if you own a pool cleaning business, be sure and let us know in the comments if this is accurate. Okay, New Day Consulting Team is another one for $50,000, which is not too bad. And this says free assessments to guide you on the type of business that best suits you. Now, this seems a little ridiculous. I think you could do this on your own for barely next to nothing if you have this skill. All right, Taylor Living Home Organizing Franchise. Designing custom storage and flooring solutions in garages. Now, if you are a carpenter and you have the carpentry skills, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there, that you could do this, with your carpentry license. You can build things, design things, install things, even if you're just good at fixing things around the house. Some of these are really way overpriced. I've never even heard of the name of Taylor Living, so I wouldn't invest $140 into this name when I've never even heard of it. Nerds to Go sounds pretty simple, but I also believe you could do this on your own. You could do it just like Bill Gates did in his basement and fix things up. If you got the skill to fix up phones and computers, you can start off in your basement. You don't need to spend any money on retail space. You may need a little bit of insurance money, and you might need a business license. You have to look that up in your state if you need a business license. Most businesses, I know in the state of Maryland, that you don't need a license if you're performing services. And this is a computer and technology service, so in Maryland you would not need a license to do this, to start this business up. You want to do like Dave Ramsey did this as well. He started off in his basement. Most business people start off without even having to rent a space out because that's where you're going to lose your money. Wait till you get your clientele build up and your inventory and you're doing really well, and then start having a storefront. Most of these are requiring you to have a storefront, which you might not even need right off the bat. This is a workforce strategy provider. Using their proprietary recruiting and hiring. I don't have this experience, but this still seems pretty high to me. All right, Campbell Franchise Recruitment. Now, I've heard of Campbell. I've heard of Campbell, like the soup company. Is that what this is? It helps people find the right business. Can be overwhelming. We are in the business of helping you find and research franchises. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I can do that too. You all can just give me $50,000, and I can research the right franchise for you. Okay? So if you want to throw away $50,000, just throw it my way. I'll be sure and take care of it for you. All right, air duct and duct dry cleaning business. Now, I know for a fact this is way overpriced. Now, maybe 2025 might be realistic. But basically, they invest in that like vacuum cleaner thing they have. to stick in the house. They may have some insurance and they may have a truck, but none of that requires 100 grand unless you want that name Duck Z, which that's basically what you're going to be paying for. All right, Savvy Provisions is a neighborhood for organic foods, fresh foods. You can also do this for less than 150. You just buy your foods or make the foods and you buy the retail spot. You might need some insurance and your license. But I can tell you it's not 150 grand. All right, Pillar to Post. I have heard of Pillar to Post. Okay, and this is a home inspection company. Being in the retail business, I've heard of this. Let's go check it out. This might be something I would invest in. Professional home business. But I still think you could do this a little cheaper because you do need a license. Okay, you need your license. You need to market yourself to real estate people. And what are they asking for this? 40 grand? That seems high. You could get your certification for under $1,000 maybe. Buy your truck. It might be a couple grand. I don't know, but it's not definitely not no 40 grand. I think you could do it cheaper than 40 grand. I think you could do it on your own. You just won't have their name. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I do believe you could do it cheaper. I think you could do it for 10 or less. Tutoring center, I've discussed this plenty of times. You can just go to a library and tutor kids. You could advertise, get your little website, advertise it, do your marketing in schools and other places, and tutor on your own. Charge $50 for 30 minutes or $100 an hour, whatever you want to charge, depending on the subject. You could go to their house. They could come to your house. Instead of spending this retail money. Retail money is what's going to be your biggest investment. So, if you don't want to spend all this money, which most of it's going to go to retail space, then do it. Work your way up. Okay, what's this Oba of Greece? Oh, it's a restaurant. Again, with the restaurants, 150 for a Greek restaurant. So all you Greek restaurant owners out there, let me know about that, okay? Is this pretty expensive? Is this overpriced? Honest Lash, I get my lashes done. I can tell you that none of the business owner I know, she does not spend 100 grand on her lash business. She has worked her way up. She owns like 3 different ones. She owns 3 different locations now. She worked her way up. And she has contractors that do lashes with her and for her. She pays them regular employees. But she did not invest 100 grand. The only thing she invested in mainly was her retail space and her supplies and her insurance. Which may have been about 30. It might have been about 30. 25 to 30 grand. Definitely not 100 grand. Homestead is probably for medical companionship and home care services. This might be accurate. I don't know a whole lot about this business, but I'm sure, again, if you have to rent out a space for retail, then that's what you're paying for. All right, so let's continue. Window washing and screens. Oh my God, 40 grand. I mean, really? All right, well, they've cleaned millions on 12 miles of Christmas lights. Now, that would be good, but you could have your own little business hanging Christmas lights. That absolutely could be a good little business to start, and you don't need 40 grand. Electric, okay, my electricians out there, I know for a fact they don't invest 50. Chiropractors, maybe, yes, because they have to have retail space. Unless they're doing it in the basement, which I don't know any chiropractors are doing in the basement. Most of them have those fancy, have the equipment, which costs a lot of money. So this one could be accurate. Let me shut my window. All right. So here comes the Amazon truck, which is like the new modern ice cream truck, right? You see the Amazon truck, we get all excited. Oh, yes. Okay. So the new spine chiropractor that might be accurate. Mosquito Mary's still seems a little high. You're going to need, can you do this? Can you store like the pool place? Can you store the chemicals for the mosquitoes? If you can do landscaping, you can do mosquitoes and ticks and all that kind of stuff with the chemicals. You just have to find a place to store the chemicals, and then when they call, because they're not going to come to a retail store, right? You normally go to their house and spray. If I'm wrong, correct me. Be sure and correct me, because I don't know a lot about all of this, but I know a little bit about business. So, for me, what I would be looking at is here. Can I find a space to store all this mosquito, tick, all that, without renting a retail spot? That's the plan, right? Okay. Kitchen exhaust and oven cleaning. Okay, this is a business I could do. This is like a cleaning business. Okay, you can pay me some money. I will come to your house and clean your oven. And I don't need $100,000 to do that. Okay, I need a website, advertising, and some cleaning supplies. I don't know where they're coming up with some of these numbers, unless they're having a retail spot. It's just crazy. I think I'm going to start up one of these franchise evaluation things and charge $50,000 like this he's doing here. Franchise recruitment. Okay. I think I'm going to do that. $50,000. Anybody want to throw $50,000 my way for evaluating some of these franchises? Absolutely. I will take the $50,000. All right. Everline Coatings. What is this one? Services. What is this? It's a recession resistant. Let's look at this. It sounds like painting, but I could be wrong. Coatings franchise. Let's see. What is this? Fresh coat painting. Oh my God, it is. It is a. Oh no, it says line painting and road maintenance. Oh, okay. Now that sounds pretty interesting. What are they asking for this? $50,000. Okay. Now that might be accurate. I think this would be a super cool franchise to have. Total investment $158. I guess that's for the. I still think you could do this without going through the franchise. I think you could look into doing it without going through the franchise. Buy the materials. You're definitely going to need to pay people to help you. You buy the materials, find a place to store them, and then you would have to market your stuff to whoever uses this kind of business. Well, I think this would be a super cool business, but I wouldn't go through this. Here, they're asking for $150. Way too much. All right, Encore Salon Suites. Oh, yeah. Now, I was looking into this myself. So you buy a bunch of little suites and then people rent them out. It's almost like buying a house, really. And I do think this is pretty accurate. And you can definitely make your money back. We can go and look at this real quick. Encore Salon Suites. And even you guys could do this. Anybody could do this. And especially Encore Salon Suites franchise. You could do this. You don't need to be good at salons. You just have to rent them out. You rent them out to people that are doing hair or makeup or whatever they're doing. And you need a minimum net worth of $1 million, $200,000 liquid. All right. So you need $200,000 liquid. And yes, I do think this is worth it. because I know that I mean, it's really like having a home and renting out every little room in your house. So it's really like buying a house and then you're just renting out the rooms in the house. You could also do it that way. Um, Running boards marketing. So far, this is one of my favorites right here. So basically, you're just going to be buying a house and renting out the rooms, which seems pretty realistic, 100 grand. They're asking for 200 in liquid. This here says 100, so they're a little off. It looks like they've been off on a lot of them, by the way. It looks like they're more when you go onto their website than they're stating here. Maple Bear I've heard of before. That is a childhood education thing, and that is way high. That's almost like a McDonald's. And I'm thinking you could start a little lower on that as well. If you're interested, and I'm sure people that want to do that kind of thing are. I've looked into that myself. I like the math, not the gymnasium, but the mathasium. I think they want 200,000 for that, and it's the same kind of thing where you tutor people in math that need assistance and tutoring. Here's another tutoring one. This isn't too bad one now. This one is only 40 grand. I think you could do it on your own, like I stated before with the tutoring. You could do it even on YouTube. Do it on YouTube. You could do it through online training. You could go somewhere where it's pretty quiet and you have a little corner. You could do it in their house, in your house. You don't need all that startup fee. Now, this one here is a little different because it's like a school. It's not tutoring, it's an actual school. So this one might be accurate, and it's probably you're paying for all the retail spots. This is a restoration company with mold damage. Usually the insurance company hire these restoration companies. I worked for a guy that owned one of these, and it's probably pretty accurate. The pricing, I mean, he has to pay a lot of people to work for him and go do this work. So he might have started off small and then he got bigger because he gets all his money from the insurance company. They pretty much taken over his business. I don't know if you can do it without going through this, and it'd be cheaper. I think he worked his way up and he's pretty successful. It didn't happen quickly, by the way. This one here, floor and textile. A carpenter could do this and do it a lot cheaper. Get your certification, get your skills, and work your way up. You can get an old truck, get your supplies. You don't need to pay them $70 for their name. All right, right at home is quality. This might be another one for older people. That's what it sounds like. Home care franchise opportunity. Now, these I don't know a lot about them. If you can do it cheaper or not, more than likely you can. You would have to I think you probably can. I met a couple people who are looking into buying it. What they do is they buy a home, they get the licenses they need and the certifications, and they will service 1 or 2 to 3 people. They'll start off like that. So their investment is the actual house, and that's how they do it. They buy the actual house, and then they get all their licenses, certifications, and it does take a while to do it that way, and then they will, so this investment here might be about accurate, and it might end up being a little more because you're really paying for the house or the retail spot. All right, how many more of these we got? Oh my God, so we might have to do one more video. Where are we at? All right, plumbers can start up their own plumbing business. They don't need to go through this. Most plumbers are probably going to already know that. I don't know any plumbers who would do this. They would get their certifications and the things that they need, the licenses, and they would just do it on their own. Garage Force. Is this building, making mechanics. Let's see. This might be my last one on this video. A lot of these are repeats. They just have different names. And I gotta go to a meeting anyway, so I will have to end this very shortly here. Okay, yeah, it looks like fixing cars, right? Garage storage, garage storage. Oh, no, that's not what it is. Oh, it's a currently building a franchise garage improvement company? I don't understand. Home improvement franchise. Remodeling their garages. Oh, that's what they're doing. A carpenter could do that. Yeah, you don't need to. Let's see how much they're asking for that. 30 grand. Okay, that's about reasonable. I think that's pretty reasonable. You can do that as a carpenter. A carpenter could do that. Somebody with those kind of handyman skills could do that without investing 30 grand. Pest solutions, we talked about this quite often. Buy the chemicals, store them somewhere. You just need a van or some kind of vehicle to go to their house. You could buy the chemicals wholesale. You don't need to invest 50 grand. So far, I've only liked a few of these franchises. Okay, well, we have one more video coming up, maybe two, to discuss some more franchises. I'll see you all in the next video.